games. We play them.
We love them. And today we're going to be talking about the top 5 games that have had the biggest impact on each of our lives.
And I'm going to start with my number 5. My number 5 is Dark Souls. Dark Souls has always been that kind of game where it always challenges you every single step of the way. And God, when I first played Dark Souls 3, I cried because it was so hard. It was so tough, just getting through everything. But then that feeling of accomplishing that hard task, those hard challenges, those hard bosses that I could never beat on my first try. But after beating those, it felt like a rush of just pure euphoria, pure bliss that I'll never forget ever. And that if I ever get to experience that again and go back and play Dark Souls again, I would, because I want to feel that euphoria every single time I win.
You know, I'm already starting to reconsider my list because of I've played not number 3, but the one right before it, number 2, Scholar of the First Sin or whatever. It was a great game. I loved it. I hated it at first, but my little brother kept telling me I can't play it like a normal game. I can't just farm the mobs. That's not how it works. You kind of go through it, die over and over. I have to accept death. Like I like winning. So it was a tough one for me, and I'm glad you put that up there because I totally forgot. I had bought number 3 actually. I haven't gotten a chance to actually play it.
It's just one of those games that just so much fun to play. That's why later on in my life I got Neo. It's kind of similar to that, but it has the challenge of Dark Souls, but when I progress through that game, it's way different because in that game it's like a mission system, and that instead of Dark Souls where it's just interconnecting areas that you travel through bonfires, but this one's like through little shrines with little people in it. But it's just not as fun, and the enemies are kind of the same the more you play it. Yeah. It's not that different, so that's why Dark Souls for me is just extremely unique, in that people say like now when they ever compare like a super hard game or something like that, they compare like, oh, this is like the Dark Souls of shooting or the Dark Souls of RPGs. But yeah, I could see where it got its reputation, like how hard it was, but how really important this game was to the gaming industry and gaming field as a general.
I might have to install that. I have it in my Steam library, just gathering dust.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll love it, man.
Oh, dude, I played the one before and I did kind of love it. You know, I never finished. I got stuck at a point. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play the previous one first.
You need to finish it because after you beat the game, you just feel like a rush because you feel like I just got over this hard challenge, and then you can say like, yeah, I beat Dark Souls.
Every boss. Like Chris, I know you played was it Salt and Sanctuary? And Sonny,
I played a little bit, yeah.
And Sonny plays that too. You guys played Salt and Sanctuary.
I gotta be honest with you, I've never played Dark Souls. I played Salt and Sanctuary for about an hour, and then I pretty much dropped it. It's not for me, man. Like, props to you guys for being able to put up with that like constant like defeat and all that stuff.
It's a new experience. I actually quit the game the first time.
It's humbling, yeah. It's
my little brother had to tell me, yo, it's not the end. You know, just get through it, and then you'll see that the souls I lost upon that death didn't really matter. It really wasn't that much.
I gotta be honest, it's a good feeling when you do beat that first boss in Salt and Sanctuary, which is like, I don't know if you can, because I've never played Dark Souls. I don't know. I don't have any like point of reference.
That's fair.
But like the number of attempts, because I'm bad, I suck at games, but the number of attempts, like, you know, after you finally do beat it, it really is a good feeling. So I can totally see where you're coming from there.
Yeah, I remember I was at Sonny's place one time. I played Salt and Sanctuary, and I was kind of a secondary character. I was holding you back. I swear.
Oh, big time.
The very first boss,
yeah.
I just kept getting wrecked, and I was supposed to be the tank with a shield, but you were doing all the work, and I'm just kind of running around causing them deaths. But yeah.
Yeah, Zippy, just since I already beat the game when you guys already came over, so I already have a lot of experience already. But when I first started, me and my little sister, we played together. We would die a fuck ton of times when we fought the first boss because we just couldn't get the timing right, and he would just kill us in like 2 hits. Yeah. But after a while, we just learned his patterns and we just got better. So, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
I'm gonna go to my 5th, I guess. But before I do that, the pattern thing you talked about. There's a lot of games like that, right? And when there's like this 3D and there's like big bosses and you're like a small dude, right? It's like 20 times your size, and you gotta know how to like dodge and stuff. That's kind of a mechanic that we've picked up, right? But it takes a long time. That's a big part of gaming, which was not on my list. So that's why I wanted to say it before I continue. All right, so my fifth is a game that Sonny actually remembers. It's an Epic Battle Fantasy 3 or 2, I forget which. But so there's this website called Congregate, and I used to, I still have an account there. I'm like level 23. And you, huh?
I do have a Congregate.
Yeah, and I'd play games there, and sometimes the originals, sometimes it'd be other people's games put on there for like, monetary gain or whatever. This was an RPG game. You get these like 4 people, and this was kind of my first, I won't say my first, but my first like normal RPG game where there's a turn-based system. There's like one dude who's the main melee dude, one girl who's like the main healer, another girl who's like the main mage, and there's a sharpshooter dude. And they each have their own ability, like level ups and progression, and getting that and trying to get them to synergize and defeat new monsters, inputting elements like weak and strong elements towards certain enemies. This was kind of new to me because I know a lot of people play Pokemon, but I didn't play Pokemon when I was younger. I mean, I watched a show, but that's about it. I'm actually playing some of those games now. But Epic Battle Fantasy, an RPG game that is like super cartoony, has a bird's eye view, 2D motion. I don't know. That was big for me.
Kind of like, yeah, just tell me. I feel kind of bad because I feel like I should have added some Flash games to my list as well, because those are kind of the games where we all started our PC gaming from. We go to like the Armor Games, Congregate,
Armor Games,
cool. I think like coolgames.com or something like that.
Cool Math Games.
Cool Math.
Yeah, Cool Math Game.
Wait, Cool Math for kids.
Yeah,
something like that.
and we always
Happy
just
Wheels.
Oh my God, Happy Wheels.
Happy Wheels is a big one.
Bro, I forgot that.
It's like it's where we like all basically started, where we couldn't like kids nowadays. They have their big PC rigs, but back then we were kids. All we had was like Windows XP.
No, you straight.
Solitaire.
Yo, I played Solitaire, yeah.
Yeah, Solitaire.
Minesweeper?
I played that on my grandpa's computer, actually.
Minesweeper was a big one.
Pretty classic.
Oh, do you guys ever play that 3D space pinball thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. 3D pinball.
Yeah,
Space pinball.
That's where like my first like PC gaming experience.
Oh,
came
have you
from.
guys ever played the one where the Yeti chases you when you're skiing down the hill?
Isn't it just called skiing?
Yeah, it's something. I don't know. It's something like that.
So I
Yeti or
played
something.
the app version like a year ago. Remember?
Oh yeah, they converted it.
But I never played that original.
First came out, that blew my fucking mind because I was just this little kid, and my dad came home from work one day, and he pulled it up on his computer. Actually, I feel like I should have put this on my list now. It's just a really cool memory for me when he was just showing me this game, and he let me try it for the first time, and that was one of my first experiences with gaming, especially PC gaming. That was my very first time, or one of them at least. So yeah, Flash games, that was a big one.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But
Yeah.
now I just think about like, damn, that's really a good piece of influential games that tell me to play games a lot more than I do now.
Yeah, so that number 5 of mine was more of a category type thing, like RPG in general, Flash, kind of that whole world. But I chose Epic Battle Fantasy 3 because I don't know. I just remember putting an F ton of time into that. All right.
All right, I guess I'll go over my fifth one now. This is a game that I only just played, I think last time, I think winter or something like that. It's Persona 5.
Oh man.
Yeah, like I regret that I can't put it higher because I love this game so much, and we're trying to get Ihraz to play. He hasn't played it yet. But me and Sonny both played.
That is true. I might try.
The allure to me is I don't know, for a long time I've kind of always been interested in Japan. I don't know, not in like kind of a weeaboo-ish kind of way. I'll expose myself. But what's interesting about Persona is that you're going through the motions of a high school like guy, basically, in Japan. So he lives and he goes to school in Shibuya, which is in Tokyo, Japan. And a lot of the system is that you're going through like school, you're doing like part-time jobs, or you're doing things like that. So you're getting a little experience, like a little chunk of Japan, and you kind of experience what that's like, or you get some kind of cultural insights there. Even if it may be like a loose form, you still get to sort of like a secondhand experience into the culture, which is super cool. The other part of the attraction for me is that Persona 5 was pretty much my first JRPG.
Oh.
Which is, I don't know, that might be surprising to some people. Maybe not to you, because you don't know why.
So a Japanese RPG?
Yeah, Japanese RPG. That was pretty much my first exposure to it. And I've been playing a lot since then. And so that was kind of like what do you call it, the launch point or something like that. I just love the mechanics of the turn-based combat, and it's a gacha game, so you kind of go through and you're getting different characters and catching them. And then that's sort of how you get more and more powerful, more strong. Go through the storyline. Oh, I didn't even touch the storyline. It's amazing. The story is so good. Like, I really felt that. And it's totally like a character-driven game, which is something I love too, because I love any game that has a good story, any game that has good character development. So maybe Sonny can add some of his experiences with it.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with whatever you like all the things you said about the game.
Sonny has played this before, Chris. How many hours have you guys put into this game, by the way?
I have put 130, I think.
I put almost 200 hours in the
Holy
game.
So, Sonny, what's your input on his number 5?
I love the Persona series. It's just incredible. I've waited for Persona 5 for almost basically my whole life, ever since I started off with Persona 3 on the PS2. Oh my god, there's so much I can talk about the game. Like the story, I love the characters. Every single character I met in that game just was incredible and extremely relatable. Like, you can one example would be my boy Ryuji. He's like kind of the first guy you meet at the school. He's kind of that outcast, that delinquent that nobody talks to. But then in the game, there's things called social links, and that the more you interact with that person, the more stronger your relationship with them becomes. And that's like that with every single character. And the Ryuji story is like, he was part of the track team, but until...
No spoilers, right?
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No,
all right,
no
cool,
spoilers.
Cool.
Yeah,
I might still play.
But yeah, he is part of the track team, and then something happened to him, and then he had gone down this path that basically where he ends up now, before he meets you, where he's like an angry kind of guy, but he's deep down inside, he's a kind-hearted man that cares about every single person that he meets. And
he might come off as maybe aggressive or intimidating, but really it's just underneath of the rough layers is just a really like kind of a passion for what he has and what he wants to do.
And that's what makes me like fall in love with the game, and that I came back to it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I always would beat it again. And it just comes up with a new experience every single time.
What's nice is there's so much content in the game, whether it's maxing out your social links or maxing out the other thing we didn't even touch on was the skills and things like that. You can match out your what are those called again?
What?
The like proficiency and stuff like that.
Oh, you're like basically your social stats, like
the
your
stats,
charm,
There
your
you
guts, all that stuff. And
Can you work out in that game?
yes, you
Yeah,
can.
you can actually.
That's cool.
You can work out to increase your HP, and you have there's cat in the game. His name is like Morgana, and he's always there cheering you on. And it's like it just makes you feel better for just doing these kind of sort of activities and all that stuff like that. So that's why I completely agree with Chris's choice of topic.
There's so much that we didn't touch on in the game, and it's pretty much impossible to touch on everything because there's so much content in the game, and you just it's the kind of game that makes you want to keep coming back for more playthroughs, whether it's through the New Game Plus or the completionist route if you want to get the 100%. But yeah, that's in recent memory, that's probably the most influential, most impactful game for me.
I strongly agree. And then people who have not played it yet, like Ihraz, I recommend it completely. It's a great game to get into if you really want to get into the JRPG field.
For sure, I totally agree.
I'm a big PC gamer. That's the only barrier I have between me and that game.
Yeah.
I think PS4 exclusive.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, PS4 exclusive.
That's my barrier. But otherwise, I would have got the game already. You guys are really good at selling it.
All right. Starting from now, my number 4 is a game that I'm pretty sure none of you guys have ever heard of. It's called Mabinogi. It's an MMORPG published by Nexon, and it's one of those games where I played at an extremely young age, but the friends I made in that game I will never ever forget. It's so basically Mabinogi. It's a game. It's an MMORPG where you basically can do almost whatever you want. You can become anything you want in that game. You can become a chef, a blacksmith. You can be like so there's a bunch of classes in the game where you can be like a warrior, mage, like archer, but you're not restricted to that. You can do hybrid classes whatever you want. You can be warrior, mage, archer, mage, just anything you want in that game you can be. And it's not only that with all the highly like customizable features of your character, but it's the friends you meet that definitely change your experience of that game. So I started out, my username was monkeyboy5.
Nice.
And I started out, just playing the game, just thinking like, wow, this is like back then it was like my first 3D kind of graphic game, and I was blown away by the graphics and I loved it, even though like you walk really slow, but it's not really the fault of the game. It's just you exploring. But I met my first friend, and I don't know how to describe his hair, but it was kind of like those crazy hot dog hair you see.
What? A pompadour?
Yeah, a pompadour. Yeah.
I never knew the term for that. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, my first friend ever, he had a pompadour, and I thought this guy was a fucking weirdo when I first met him. We were hunting white wolves together, but basically after we got really really close to each other, he started talking about his like personal life and how he talked about his girlfriend. And one day I actually met his girlfriend. We actually talked. We actually interacted with each other. Like I always talked about him in the game, like how he was such a good friend for me. And there's one story part in the game Mabinogi where it definitely hit me is so in this game there's like a lot of role playing. So it's an MMORPG. So there's one day I was walking through this like path to a town where there's a lot of trading going on, and I met this snake, just a random snake out in the field, and it was just slithering along, and I see it, and I say hi to it, because it's a friendly game, it's be social, and the snake starts talking to me, we say hi, and then in the end I become this snake's father.
wait. Okay.
So I should have explained this a little bit earlier, but they introduced pets in the game, and that you can become your pet, and then you can talk as animals.
Oh, so that's how this guy turned into a snake. I was thinking you met an NPC or something. No. So this is a guy who was a snake.
No, this is a girl.
Oh, a girl.
This is a girl. So basically, I got myself a daughter. And
Nice.
So I was role playing. I was, I think, 13 at the time, and this girl was like 18 when I became her father. And like just like going through it, she even asked me for approval to date her online boyfriend.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I said, well, yes. Like so in this game, I even had to fight her boyfriend to show how strong I was as her father. And it's funny because he was so much higher level than me, so he killed me in one shot. So I was like, okay, I approve of this guy, and then it was just funny that some 18-year-old girl would come to me for like approval to date some online boy. But it was funny,
You must have felt like one powerful 13-year-old.
Yes.
Some mature.
But then later on, this is where things start really, really like hitting home, or like not really hitting home, but she actually really, really opened up about her own personal life, and she tried to commit suicide one day, And so her mom actually came up to me and asked me if anything, do I know anything? Why would she want to do this?
How did her mom reach you?
Through the game, through her account.
Oh, okay.
So she logged into her Mabinogi account and she asked all her closest friends, but she talked about me most in her life.
Wow. That's incredible that she needed to do that.
Yeah, her mom always told me, she talked about me, like how much fun and how much of a figure I was in her life, and that she almost tried to commit suicide. And so one day, I told her that when I was playing with her, she was all happy. She had her online boyfriend. She got married in the game too.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, she was just super happy, and she's like, yeah, and she just felt like she was only happy when she was playing this game, but then she just went off into the bathroom, just like kind of wanted to slit her wrist. And so the next few days, I think she gave her laptop to the girl, my daughter, basically, and she was in the
But really her daughter.
yeah. Yeah, but really her daughter, yeah.
Her actual.
Yeah, her actual, like the mom's, like, yeah. And so we actually talked while she was in the hospital. She had her laptop and everything, and asked her if she was okay. And she's like, I'm just like, she was actually like thanking me. Like, thank you for talking to me. Thank you for accepting me and just being like kind of like a father, like an actual father, like who would actually be there and actually make me happy. And for a 13-year-old, this was like, holy crap. This is like a really big bombshell for me. And
yeah, that's a major moment. That's a pretty. I'm actually surprised this isn't higher. I mean, how you gonna top that?
This is number 4, too.
Yeah, and it's like it's crazy. Like like that game. No matter like, I always try to convince my other friends to play this game. Like, it's a fun game, but they always say no. But deep down inside, this game would be fun, and always hold those memories that I always cherish in that game for all the friends that I met and how they connected with me. That's why it's number
mad respect, Sonny. Mad respect.
I don't think any of us can top that.
All right,
that was number 4 for me. Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 4. This kind of hits a little bit upon the beginning of what you spoke about, Mabinogi. I've played Nexon games, it's not Mabinogi, where you can have multiple skills and pursue whatever sort of career or skill path you want with absolutely no repercussions. You can do whatever you want to whatever extent you want. Mm-hmm. You just get more the more time you put in. But it is very time consuming. My game is RuneScape. And
I played briefly. I played only a little bit. Mostly I just watched my friends play back in elementary school.
All right.
Way back in the day.
What about you, Sonny?
Yeah, same as Chris.
Really?
I only played it up until like my skill level was like 14. And
Bro,
yeah.
Bro, you guys haven't even started.
I still died to goblins in the beginning. That's how weak I was.
I actually, it's been such a long time, and I only played for such a brief amount of time. I actually can't remember what the UI looks like at all.
I still remember it completely. I know exactly what buttons to press. All right, so just so you know, you get to a level where if you surpass NPC monsters, or sorry, AIs, by a certain level, they stop even aggroing you. So yeah, if you guys can unaggro the goblins, that's kind of sad.
No, when I fought the goblins, I would just die to them because I suck.
I was trash at that game too. I actually couldn't even run the game because my machine was so.
Okay, that's fair.
For back then, it was still
okay. So
really
RuneScape,
bad.
actually, even RuneScape to this day, you can still get the OSRS, old school RuneScape, and play it.
I've seen that up there.
It's still super laggy, but I digress. There's so many skill paths that you can do, and as long as they're not combat skills, there is absolutely no repercussions for your choices. You can just keep building up. Now, I was never a member. I remember one day looking at the non-member map versus member map. You get to pay like a monthly fee or whatever. And I was experiencing maybe 10 to 20% of the game, without a doubt. There were a lot of skills that I could not even get into without being a member. And I remember always being like, dang, I can't even get onto those servers or those worlds. But I still had so much fun. Mm-hmm. I put I think maybe a year or two into that game. Literally, me, my older brother, and my younger brother. We all played. We played together, played separately. I challenged my little brother to duel one time. He was slightly under leveled, so you just used my fists, and I won. I punched his armor, and it's so yeah. There's some dumb elements to that game, no lie. But one thing I remember very very clear, other than the UI and the gameplay in general, Halloween event. So they have events where things pop up and you do something. And one of my favorite was a Halloween event where you talk to Grim Reaper and he's lost some stuff and you got to help him out. Otherwise, he can't be the true Grim Reaper or whatever. And at the very end, you get a friend snake. Not snake, sorry, a spider. And the spider's name was Eek.
Eek?
And okay, so like, I don't know how old I was at that time. Less like 12-ish probably. Really young. And I don't know why, but that was like the cutest shit to me ever. Like, I thought I was like, damn, I got a pet. I got to take care of it. You don't have to do anything with that pet, but you can talk to it. And I got to the end game, and I played at the end game. I did the farming, the grinding. I did a little bit of everything. The combat system was super simple, but the flavor to the game started losing a little bit when my ignorance started getting, when the game started dispelling my ignorance. So like I love the exploration part, but at some point they input a thing called the Grand Exchange. It's this place where players can trading with each other off a forum instead of just in person. So you don't have to meet a random person you don't know and trade with them. There's actually like this place where people sell and then it's posted and you can buy it like that. And it's simplified the game for me a lot, right? We can now get to end game faster. But a couple years after that, when I tried playing it again, the replayability wasn't really there for me, just because the Grand Exchange kind of solved all those beginner problems. I kind of loved that nostalgic value. This was still only the free version of the game. I've never been a member. If I could go back and pay for it, I probably would, without a doubt. But so much time has passed, I don't know if I can. I'd rather have the fond memory than go back to it and maybe it not being the same as it was. Mm-hmm. But about your Mabinogi game, I will agree on that one thing. The path, like you can cook and increase your cooking level or whatever. You can do whatever you wanted. And and the max level for something is 99, and if you hit it, you get a cape. Like there's a bank near the main place where you start, and you just see tons of people just making a campfire, moving one block to the left, make another one in a line. They keep doing it, just because they're trying to get their wood cutting and campfire level up. But yeah, that's my number 4, RuneScape.
I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I never had that experience, but I wish I did, man. All my friends used to play it.
Yeah, you were so close.
So close. If only my PC was better.
Damn.
That was the only inhibiting factor.
Mm-hmm.
But for my number 4, I want to talk about the very first RPG I ever played. So last time was my first JRPG. This is the first RPG, period. And I started this, I was probably... It was when the original Xbox was out. So I don't know what year that was. Like, it was elementary school probably for us.
1735.
So, yeah. Feels like it. Feels like it. Fable, The Lost Chapters.
Oh, shit.
You know this game?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I've heard this title by many people. I've read it. I don't know what it is.
All right,
but
I'll enlighten you.
Yes, please enlighten me.
So you play as someone whose end goal becomes to be like the greatest like hero of all time, basically.
That sounds like an RPG.
Yeah, it's pretty. When you say it out loud, like all these years later, it sounds like such a basic concept. But for me, as such a young kid, it's my first RPG ever. This is a very like novel idea, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. And so, you start the game off, and I probably started it a few times because I was too kind of I don't know. It took me a while to get into it. But once I figured out the mechanics and things like that, once you started getting into the story, it became something that I got really hooked on. And I would come home from school and I would just put hours and hours and hours into it. And this is not exactly a long game either. I revisited it maybe 2 years ago. It's on Steam if you guys ever wanted to play. Mm-hmm. I think I beat the whole thing in like sub 10 hours. So it's a short game, but it's a blast. So you start out in this town. It's your sister's birthday. You go around collecting money. Like you get gold for doing certain tasks. And with that money, you're supposed to buy her a birthday present. So all that goes well. You get her the present, but as soon as you give it to her, someone gets shot with an arrow. He's running past you, he gets shot, and then a horde of bandits come in and they burn down your town. And that's sort of the, where it all starts. You get taken to the guild and you meet the guild master and he takes you in, you become an apprentice. And then over time throughout the game, after doing, quest after quest and building up your stats and getting your skill set and everything like that, you're going through this amazingly kind of basic story. That for someone that's never played it before was really great. And, it's just a really... It's kind of a special game for me because it's one of the first games that I could connect to my brother with. My younger brother and I are both super big fans of this game, and we still quote it. I think I quoted it like yesterday. That's how how much of an impact it has on me. Like just the
Your little
quotes.
brother as well?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we talk about the game all the time. Like, I think yesterday I was like, check the guild for more quests. Like that's what.
Yeah.
You've got this badge, and then the guild master talks to you and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know, like for me coming up, this was a great first sort of encounter to RPG games, and I've been playing a lot since then. So yeah, it's just got a special place in my heart for being the first.
I think like the game I played, I haven't played Fable 1 yet, but I have played Fable 2 with my little sister.
Oh really?
And in that game, it starts out with tragedy as well. You're basically like a poor kid in this little town. And then you and your sister go off to meet like kind of this great king, and he invites you in, and then he he puts you in these 2 circles of magic light, and then he shoots your sister right in front of you.
Wait, what the... Huh?
I remember this. I've played it. I haven't completed it, but I played the first bit of it. Yeah.
Yeah, he basically, you're stuck in this thing, the magic circle, and he goes up to your sister while she's like screaming at you to save her, and he just shoots her, and you're like, oh shit. So but I think he shoots you too, and you fly out the window.
Yeah, you fall all the way out of the castle, which is on this big mountain thing. You fall all the way down.
Wait, who shot you?
should
Was it
be
the
dead.
king who shot you?
Yeah, the king gets your ass.
Yeah, the king shoots you.
Weren't you visiting the king?
Yeah, so he invites you in with all this like glee. He's like, oh, everyone's like so happy. Like you and your sister are like all happy. Like, oh my god, the king is finally like inviting us in since we're poor peasants, and we don't like we don't deserve this kind of like.
And he was like, you're right, you don't, and then just bam.
Yeah, he just shoots your sister right in front of you.
God.
Either it doesn't really matter if you're the gender, if you're a guy or a girl. You have a sister, and you always get shot, and then you basically go out this whole adventure to avenge your sister. You grow up, and then in the end, I don't know if you're gonna play it, or anybody else.
Yeah, actually, that's one of my questions. Wait, Chris, do you want to talk more about it, or are you good?
Oh no, I'm good.
All right,
What's
so
your question?
my question. You said it was on Steam.
It's on Steam. Yeah.
Number 1 and number 2.
No, number 2. I think it's only
Number 1 is on there for sure.
I don't know about number 2. Definitely not number 2.
How old's number 1?
It came out. I don't even know when. All I know is it was on the original Xbox.
It's
All right.
a really, really.
I mean,
It's old, yeah.
I'll look it up, see if it's worth playing.
I would for sure recommend.
Do you want to play
it.
Fable 2? I don't know if you're gonna play Fable 2.
If it's only on the Xbox, then nah.
Fable
Yeah.
2 is a little lengthier, I feel like, but
It's
I never really got into it. I really got into the first one though.
It's
I don't
on
know
the
what it is.
it's
Alright,
on
so-
the 360.
All right, I'm okay. I'm okay with spoilers.
All right, so in the
spoilers
end,
alert, guys.
so in the end, you get there and you see the king, and he's like, it's like I felt like it was the most anticlimactic kind of ending you would get from a Fable 2. Like throughout this whole journey, you're like, holy, like your sister just got shot, and you're like, this is a revenge. This is the final fight. I'm gonna get my revenge. And so in the end, like he all he does is just talk. You don't get a fight at all.
Wait, you don't kill him or nothing?
So okay, so you talk to him, and he's just spouting like, "Oh, it's because of you." He basically becomes like a Scooby Doo villain. He's like, "It's because of you, milling kids. Like my plan is ruined."
What the?
And he just keeps going on and on and on until you finally shoot him. Like he shot your sister, and he falls down into the ravine. But there's this one ending where you don't even get to shoot him. Somebody else shoots him for you. He's like, oh,
Wait, what?
yeah. If you let him talk for too long, you don't even get the satisfaction of shooting him. Someone else shoots him for you.
Jeez.
He's like, yeah, that guy was talking too long. I didn't even know what you were doing, so I shot him for you. So yeah, if you
Like, that'd be funny.
if you actually listen to him out, you don't get to shoot him. You don't get to shoot him. So you don't even get to get this grand final battle. You just shoot him. You don't get to like wail on him or anything. You just shoot him, just like your sister.
You know, some people say that Fable is like, it's almost meant to be like a parody of RPG, just because of I don't know, it's kind of jokey. It's not too serious or anything like that. I can kind of see how that ending might be contributing to that belief, because that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, just how it is. You know, you're like, God, like that's it. I just shoot him. I don't get the satisfaction of just beating him down or anything like that.
It sounds like the story is way more interesting in the second one, though.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like there's a little bit more nuance there. The first one's really straightforward. It ends exactly like
But you
you
said it's super
expect.
old, and like as a kid, and
As
also
a kid, yeah.
at a time when RPGs aren't that big. Like right now, like there's so many RPG games, and they're all
It's super saturated.
yes, and it's so generic. I'm like, oh, they're just do this basic goblin elf or
Yeah.
like all this. But like, wait a minute, like I love that, and I still do it, but it never feels the same because I don't know. I
See, what's interesting in Fable, there's actually no like orcs or anything. Like, there's only the human kind of species. You fight other humans in the form of like bandits and stuff like that.
yeah, I got you.
But you can also fight like giant ass like wasps and stuff and beetles.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
But yeah,
the gist of it.
But the reason I brought that was because like now, if I were to try playing a game like that, I'd feel like, man, I've done this so many times.
Yeah.
But I might enjoy Fable instead because it actually is from a time where I enjoyed that. Like it's not trying to recreate something, you know.
Yeah, the timing
It's
of
part
it
of a
was
trend.
everything.
It's part of a trend that they're kind of trying it out, and I don't know why, but I just love that.
Oh, I just forgot to mention this, but I think in all Fable games, it has a good and evil system.
Oh yeah, we did forget to touch on that.
Yeah, so they have a good and evil system.
So you could be like a bad person if you just go around killing everybody.
So you can be a fucking dick and fart in people's
Yeah.
faces, or you can be a good person and actually save people. So I'm not sure. I don't remember correctly, but I'm pretty sure your choices actually do affect how people see you and how people treat you.
Basically, though, it's not like dialogue options like it would be in some other kind of games. It's literally like you can go through a town, kill everybody,
Yeah.
and then you get a ton of like I don't know, it's like dark side points, quote unquote, or whatever. And then it changes your physical attributes too. You actually grow horns. If you get bad enough, you grow horns and stuff. And then the characters react to that. They actually run away from you, or they won't do business with you. They won't trade with you.
All right. We
The
can just
flip
kill them
side
too.
of that,
We can just kill them too.
yeah, well, yeah.
Take their shit.
That's pretty much it. You kind of get screwed over if you do that, because there's some items, like there's this thing called the Soulless Greatsword, and it's got the biggest
what?
Soulless Greatsword, like SOLUS, I think, and it does the most base damage of it. It does more than like the weapon that you get like in game. That's supposed to be like the OP. Like, this is the weapon that you've been fighting for your whole time. It's like the Master Sword equivalent, right?
Yeah, I got it.
It's like nothing compared to the Soulless Greatsword, and it's something that you buy. So if you're going around like killing people, getting all the dark side points or whatever, there's really like it's really hard to do business with the trader, and so you have a really low chance of getting that sword.
Got it.
So it's not worth doing to me, at least. Yeah. But yeah, that's Fable in a
But
nutshell.
at least it gives the game some replayability. Hey, let me try doing it the other way.
Yeah,
down.
that's
Let me
for
just
sure.
kill everybody.
Especially like
See-
multiple playthroughs, you get so good at the game so fast because it is so like it's super easy. Like, that's why it takes so like little time to beat it. Especially if you get the good magic and stuff.
Got it.
All right. Gonna start with going up the list. Number 3. It's another RPG. It's another JRPG. It's Final Fantasy. Just Final Fantasy in general. I have no kind of certain one that I really like, but Final Fantasy was my first RPG like ever, and the amount of time I put into Final Fantasy games is insane. I think I have played almost all of them, and each one is just a whole different ride. And it's incredible. There's some I still need to beat, like Final Fantasy 10, 10-2, 13-2. There's just so many Final Fantasy games I haven't even barely touched or even beaten yet, but it's like every single story is different, and that no matter where you start in the game, you don't have to play through the first one, or you don't have to start at a certain Final Fantasy. You can start anywhere and it'll be a grand adventure. The first Final Fantasy game I ever played was Final Fantasy 1, the first ever game on the Game Boy Advance. And man, I sank so many hours on that game. And I felt, even though it was the most like kind of blandest story, you are the four heroes of light. You have to go collect the crystals of the four elements, like fire, water, air, earth, all that stuff. But it like blew my mind because how incredible this grand adventure was. You start out, going to save a princess, typical hero stuff. But then you open up to this elaborate plan of time and space being bended. And it's incredible what this game accomplished for me. Like in my life, it just, it sparked my interest in RPGs. Like right now, I love board games, and one kind of games I love to play is like RPGs. I haven't played D&D yet, but I have this game called Mice and Mystics.
Oh, I played that. We were playing that. We're still not done.
And it's a long RPG game, but we have so much fun. And then you just come up with these. There's a story that in Mice and Mystics, but how we play is that we don't even follow the story. We kind of create our own story. We talk about like some crazy chained lightning magic, kill roaches, and it's just incredible. It's like it really just opens up your imagination, and that's why I just love the Final Fantasy series, because you enter this world where there's giant yellow birds walking around.
Chocobos.
Yeah, chocobos, and it's just incredible. I just love the series so much, and how much it like sparked my interest in RPGs, and it it's just. I just love the series so much.
What's funny is I didn't get into Final Fantasy. I played the first one. The first one I played was 10. I haven't even beaten it yet, but it's really because of Persona that I got into it, which is kind of funny because it came out way later. But it's a good series.
I mean, I have quite a bit to say on this subject too. So my first Final Fantasy game was also 10. How many days ago did I start? Is that 6 now or 5? Yeah. And it's also because of Sunny here and another friend of ours.
Sunny's a big part of it, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my game influences. Mice and Mystics as well, also because of you. I started playing it, and I remember 4 days in, like 3.5, almost 4 days in, we decided to check on Steam how many hours I put in, and it was 24. It was 23 and something. So I spent a quarter of my lifetime for those 4 days since I got it playing this game. There's a mini game in there that I sometimes play more than the actual game. I love it. I love it. And I did ask, and you don't need to know the other Final Fantasy storylines. So yeah, I'm playing 10 right now, and I'm absolutely hooked. And it doesn't follow some other things that I expected. You said it's a JRPG. I think this might be my first JRPG. And it's definitely a little different in flavor and taste. The expressions definitely, I don't know. I just get a very anime-y vibe from it.
For sure.
Yeah, the cutscenes, stuff like that.
And a combat system too, I think.
The
turn-based combat.
The way they get hit and the sound effects they make.
Yeah.
It's just so. Sometimes it makes you laugh. But the only reason I'm able to play this Final Fantasy is because it's on Steam, right? So 10 and 10.2, the remastered version, is on Steam, and that's why I got it. I finally get, because Sunny has been talking about it. I was interested, and then it popped up on Steam, and I'm like, you know what? This might be the time, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. That was your number 3?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, my number 3 is one that many people may have heard of, League of Legends. League of Legends, where do I begin? Well, I guess how many years I've played it. I'm still playing, by the way. I've played...
I am as well.
God. Maybe freshman, sophomore year of high school, probably. So how many years is that now? 7?
Yeah.
God, I've played this game too long. So, so I started playing that game, and the main mode is like there's 10 people on map, 5 versus 5. And this was big for me. This was my first MOBA game. I had no idea what MOBA meant. I just knew the website for it was MOBA Fire to learn about it. But MOBA is what? Massive Online Battle Arena something? Mm-hmm. It's instead of going through a storyline by yourself, it's online and there's just set boundaries, kind of like a first-person shooter map where there's a map, and then you just keep going there playing, and then you play again, and your first playthrough doesn't affect your second playthrough. You can keep playing again. You can choose a character from up to 100-something characters, and each of those characters has their own skills, and you're matched against 5 people, and you got 4 allies with you, and everyone's human. It was a big deal for me. I didn't even start at that mode though. I started with a 3v3. It's called Twisted Tree Line. And I didn't play the game right? I played this ranged person who's supposed to build damage. Her name's Ash. She's an archer. And I would only see that other players who played this person would shoot kind of fast. So what I would do is I just buy attack speed items. I wouldn't increase my damage or anything. And one of my abilities slows people, but it costs mana. And being the cheap ass I was, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to build one item that's not typical. I bought an item that passively slows on hit, so I wouldn't have to use that. It was so ineffective, but for some reason I felt so cool when I figured that out. I don't know why. And I don't know, just getting bootied, just getting wrecked by other players kind of made me rethink my ways. Like, you know what, maybe I should figure out how to build this person better or try other people. And slowly I just made my way up, and now I'm still playing. Like, it doesn't have the same nostalgic value, but my skills and everything, I still loved it. I used to play alone. It was just me and my little brother, really. And we were both very competitive. We still are. We're very competitive. And so it was very skill-based. But then I meet you guys, play League with you guys. So Sunny here plays. And it's a whole different world playing with friends. It's no longer just about winning and then feeling like shit when you don't. Getting angry. Because it's an online game. You have teammates and you have to accept their decision. And then there's a lot of flames, a lot of, words exchanged that may not be the best for mental health, but
that's why I quit.
It's toxicity, right? You got to deal with that. And playing with these my friends really saved that game for me, right? I can still hate on the enemies when they kill me, right? But now I can trust someone, I can talk to someone, and it's just so much more fun now. Because now there are times where we just fuck around, no lie. One time we were playing, me and 3 of my friends. One of them was Sunny, and the 5th person we didn't know, but his name was I'm Eric Campbell.
Yes.
And oh my god, I don't know how many times we died for this guy just because he was Campbell. And then whenever we killed an enemy, we'd put in the all chat. The all chat is a system you just talk to the other team. I just say something like, yo, drink your soup or eat your soup. And I don't know why. We don't know why that was funny. We just fuck around. It's no longer for the win anymore. It's just for having fun. Mm-hmm. And this was unique to me because this game is solely dependent on the win. It's not the experience, really. But I put so much time and effort into this game, and I'm pretty good at it. I lie.
What's your rank?
He asked me the question. Yeah, no, don't look me up, please. I'm trash. But hey, I still love playing this game, and it's big. It's big for me. It's my first MOBA. Play it with friends. Honestly, one of my friends says they know me more through this game than through real life, only because they've seen me at my lowest point in the game. Because you really get angry when you're playing this game. You really get pissed, and you really laugh when you play this game. Mm-hmm. And so expressing
the highs and lows.
Yeah, so expressing that with friends is, I don't know, almost therapeutic. Except then again, we put ourselves in the toxic situation. So take it what you will. But I love playing League of Legends, and yeah, that's that.
If you're listening, Eric, I'm Eric Campbell. Please hit us up, man, because I'd love to play with you again.
Yeah, so we play with you. We had fun, but we don't know who you are in real life. So if you're listening to this right now, please hit us up. All right, Chris, you're number 3.
All right, my number 3. My first ever shooter, Star Wars Battlefront 1.
Ooh, I thought you were going to do Battlefront 2.
Oh, no. Battlefront 1 for me was way more special. So Battlefront 2 definitely improved upon some of the things that were not necessarily flawed in Battlefront 1, but were not necessarily fleshed out either. But, yeah, I don't know. For those of you who haven't played it, basically what you're doing it's in the Star Wars universe, obviously. You go to the different planets that they go to in the movies, like Tatooine, Kashyyyk, Manan. Oh, no, Manan's... Ooh, I just gave up something. I'll take it back.
I don't even recognize these,
Save
so
that for later.
just keep going.
But all right, so anyway, you're on these planets and you're going to different places on the planets, and that's basically the battle arena, right? So you're going around. The objective of the game, or the way that I like to play it, the mode I like, is you capture command posts. There's usually somewhere between like 3 to 5 on each map that you have to capture. And that's common to both of the teams. So when you start a match, maybe you have 1 or 2 each on the team, and then one of them is neutral. Your first objective is to go out and capture the neutrals, and then like shoot your way through the enemies, and then go stand by the thing. It's like capture the flag basically, but you're not bringing it back. You just want to have the territory, and that allows you to have like troops spawn at that point. And it's like a tactical thing, right? And then you just go keep capturing everything.
So it's literally like a battle frontier game.
It's a literal battlefront, yeah. You can win either by capturing all the command posts, and then if in 20 seconds they don't capture another one or they make it neutral, you win. Or you can just knock out their numbers from 200 to 0. So each team has 200 starts with. It spawns throughout the match, and then it gets to 0. The reason that this is so significant to me is, again, because I just play it with my brother all the time growing up. This was another game that was on the original Xbox. It was one of the first games I ever played on the system, that and Fable, of course. And I just have a lot of really good memories, just, sitting down, playing with him, as often as we could, really. We put in a ton of hours in that game. We got really good at that game. And it was just it was like our way of bonding in some sense. And, we have a really good relationship now. We're like best friends, really. And I kind of credit the gaming that we did together back, when we were growing up, to that relationship. And so Battlefront, to me, despite being such a good game on its own, is kind of supplemented just by sort of what we've already been talking about, like the relationships that you build through the game. And that's what it comes down to. So that's my number 3 for that reason.
The only experience I have ever had with Battlefront was Battlefront 2, and I played that at my babysitter's house.
Oh, really?
So at my babysitter's house, it was also kind of like my family friend's house as well. So they would have a PS2 downstairs, and just to keep me distracted, I would just play that PS2. They had Dragon Ball Z, fucking Tenkaichi Budokai. They had that. I would play that a lot. But I would always go to Battlefront 2 because that game was just awesome, going around as like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. And
Oh, yeah. You
just
get to play as Jedi and heroes in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
And you just go ham on these little stormtroopers and droids, and you hear like you hear all the sound of like ju ju ju, and just go around. It's incredible. That's why I love the Battlefront games. Just experiencing being in those the shoes of the heroes and more villains.
They've got number 2 on Steam too. If you guys ever wanted to play that.
Yeah. Then we can pick that up one day.
That's a great one to play with friends, man. I have these. I guess some of my best memories, are just playing that game with different people. Like, I used to go over to my best friend's house back in elementary school, and we would just play that for hours and stuff, like eat PB&Js, go play some fucking Battlefront. It was good times, man, coming up in elementary school for that game. But
the Conquest aspect reminded me of a game. Have you guys heard of Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War?
my brother plays a shitload of Shadow of Mordor.
I played Shadow of Mordor.
You guys play it? Oh my god!
My brother plays a lot. Yeah.
All right, I need to talk to him because I finished both Mordor and War. I played them both like to death, and they're amazing. But yeah, there's a huge system of taking fortresses and making your own, defending it.
I've watched him play a little bit. It looks like a lot of fun. I just haven't had the opportunity to like sit down and play it myself.
Yeah, it's super immersive for a short period of time. So like the first game, 60 hours. Right? I had so much fun with it. Right after I was done, I'm like, I don't really want to replay it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Kind of same thing with second one, but second one does have a bit more replayability. There's more things I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason it's more replayable is because they decided not to make everything main quest. So now I just do side quests and stuff.
Oh, that's good.
well, more like optional forts, but that's about it. But yeah, I mean, I still have a lot of fun with it. I think I've only replayed it once, but yeah, maybe a good 60 to 80 hours on that. But yeah, I never actually had conquest type things.
It was
before.
just a big appeal to me because it's super fun just mindlessly going around the map and like fucking around. Like you can ride the ships and fly through the air in some maps.
Oh,
and
nice.
Just like that. Yeah. I don't know. It's just fun, man. Like when you're a little kid, just blasting like the robots and stuff. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it for me. What's your number 2, Sonny?
Man, I know this is a huge game, and I'm pretty sure in most people's list it will be up there in the top 5. But Zelda, the Legend of Zelda in general, and I started off with the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. I didn't beat that game, but I loved it. But then the real reason why I love the Legend of Zelda series, it all started with Wind Waker on the GameCube.
Yep.
The graphics and just traveling around the world of this open sea, it opened up my feelings of being a pirate and sailing the seas. And it's, I don't know, like some people really don't like that game. It's a love-hate kind of game where you either like you really love the game or you really don't like the game.
Yep.
But I'm one of those guys who really love the game. And it's just like the cell shaded style of the game is just completely different from any other Zelda game you ever see. And if you just look around, you look at Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, freaking Skyward Sword, or the recent one, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
It's completely different, and it's just, I don't know. Just people find going through that ocean part, like sailing through the ocean on the boat, extremely boring. For me, it's incredible because the Wind Waker in the game, or it's basically like a baton, and you get to change the direction of the wind to your
I
liking.
thought it was a flute.
It's not.
Oh no, it's a baton. You're right.
Yeah, it's
You're
a
right. You
baton.
play it.
And
You're thinking of Ocarina.
and it's incredible. You feel like the god of the sea when you play that game, and you just
Maui.
yeah. I basically become like Maui, and it just I control.
What's true? You need a boat and you
Sonny's
can't
God
swim.
complex comes out again.
Yeah, and it's like it's
I
like
control the air.
it's just incredible in that game. You just so much to do, and I don't know, just the sense of adventure just going through it is incredible for me. I just never forget it.
It almost made my list too. I think it holds up so well because it is cel shaded. Like the art style is so good. Like for those of you who haven't seen it, it's one of the best looking Zelda games in my opinion. I don't know. Like obviously the more recent ones like Breath of the Wild look really good too. But for a game that was made way back then, it holds up really well today still.
Mm-hmm. And it also the memory of the game also bring me kind of sadness as well. Is because
Don't tell me the ending.
No, it's not the ending. It's how it basically killed my GameCube. It's because one day me and my sister were playing, and she accidentally tugged on the controller, and it pulled my GameCube, and it smashed on our stone floor.
Oh no.
And it completely broke my GameCube, so I couldn't play it anymore. I was devastated. And that was the last game I ever played on my GameCube.
Oh man.
Oh my god. So here's the thing.
Sad way to go.
I have a GameCube, but we sold it. But that's fine because we had a Wii, so we still have all the save stuff because we put on the little GameCube, those little save thingies.
Memory card?
Yeah,
Memory cards, yeah. So, but about
Throwback.
Skyward Sword. So, I was gonna talk about Zelda a little later, but I've never had that Zelda experience that almost every gamer has. It's a staple, right? But it's just one of those things that I've never played. I've never played the Zelda games ever, right? The most I know of it is from playing Smash, right? I know, Link, Zelda, and like Ganondorf are main characters. That's about all I know, really. But because of that, Razme, one of our friends, actually gave me his Skyward Sword, or lent it to me, and I have it. And I started playing, and I've gotten to that part where you're on the boat and you're flying through. Now the gamer part of me, now that I'm older, is like, all right, every time I go through a new tile, and that fish comes up, and you talk to it, and it gives you a little bit of, if you feed it, gives you some information about the area. I've been trying to like remember everything, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just sail. And I'm not gonna lie, because another one of our friends said she was super bored of the game because of the too much sailing, I love it. I'm gonna agree with that part. I'm gonna agree with that. I'm not gonna say piracy, but more just I don't know, that freedom of just I know the storyline tells me to go somewhere, but for now, let me just fly around.
Mm-hmm.
It's super awesome, and yeah, it is a baton. I remember, but it's my first game. I still haven't beat it. I got it recently, and I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can definitely see that.
I played a lot of Zelda as a kid, and Wind Waker is actually my favorite too. It didn't make my list because I got two more that are just more special to me. But man, Zelda's it's a great series. Like you gotta when you do finish it, it's gonna be a good feeling for you.
He also gave me another one. I forgot which one it was.
There's a couple good ones. I think the first one I ever played was Zelda and the Minish Cap.
Ooh,
It's a Game Boy Advance game.
Oh.
Super fun.
My older brother has Ocarina of Time. He bought it last year.
Is that the DS version or is that on the?
N64.
N64.
Because it's on the actual N64.
Because we have an N64. Yeah, he bought it.
Shit, that's awesome.
So because you can't buy that like off the store or anything,
Right. Yeah.
he had to pay like $50-something for it.
Wow.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it was.
That's cool. You guys have like a actual like fucking N64 cartridge of that game though.
Yeah, and
I mean,
it's super
that's
cool that
cool.
I have my older brother. As my older brother, like he's so awesome. Like he's a gamer, but he's also like indulges in mine and my little brother's gaming tendencies as well. So like come birthday time or something important, like he's not gonna just gift us something. He's gonna get us something that we all can share,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So we
cool.
all play together or take turns playing or whatever. Like, he gets us. It's cool.
That is
So
cool.
I definitely get that.
That's a
bonding
special
experience.
moment for real.
So I definitely get that.
All right, Ihraz.
So that was a great number 2. I can definitely see us hitting the top. Wait, we're on number 2, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're definitely hitting the tops of our list. All right, so my number 2, it's actually on the Nintendo 64. It's Super Mario 64. So this
snap.
is getting back to what we said, what Chris said about bonding with your brother. That's kind of the game, as good or bad as it may be, was also serving another purpose. Is my older brother, my younger brother, and I all together, we played the crap out of Super Mario 64. We beat it. My brother had a save file. Me and my little brother had save files that we kept deleting and retrying just so we can get the yellow star instead of a blue star. So there's stars you can get. And if you redo a mission for an old star, it just turns blue. And it's not as satisfying because you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go for all the stars you don't have. So being the children we would reset the file and then get the same star, but it'd be golden. But no, but realistically, it was a great game. I loved it. I loved it to death. In recent years, a couple of my friends came over to my house. It was only like 2 years ago, and I decided to play some N64, and I still play that. I still love it. Like the mechanics of it, Okay, so I haven't played Mario Odyssey. If I played Mario Odyssey, because I don't have a Switch, if I played Mario Odyssey, I might have put that above Super Mario 64. But right now for me, it's the N64 version. Like, it's still so open world. Like the edges, the corners, the movement, none of it's clunky. It's still so super smooth and beautiful. I don't even know how old it is. It still means so much to me. Jumping is a painting, it's a story, right? Honestly, beating Bowser for the final time to save Prince Peach wasn't even the true ending for me. It's like, yeah, good job, I did that. But it was getting all the stars, finding the secrets. Like now, I can't even play a simple game without like running my body against every corner to see if there's something hidden, and to smashing whatever action button is for finding, right? And sometimes it gets a little excessive now, but I don't know. I love the open worldness of it. I loved how there are proper ways to get up places, but if you just know how to do certain jumps or certain wall jumps, you can actually bypass it.
Nintendo is really good about rewarding players who are a little more creative.
Like, I don't know. It was amazing. I just can't rant about it. Actually, I had a really bad experience with Nintendo 64 recently. Not Nintendo. Super Mario 64 is when on my YouTube feed there was a video of someone speedrunning the game, and they finished the game in half an hour, and I was so blown.
Dude, I've never played the game before, but I watched a lot of the speedruns for it just because it's cool. Like
okay, so a lot of the only reason they were able to do it is because there's a lot of glitch exploits.
Yep.
And not glitches, but also the makers make certain secrets in there so you can cheat. And they leave certain walls open, right? But it's not supposed to be part of the game experience. It's only for people who know. And just seeing that kind of, I'm like, man, that blows. Like, I put my heart and soul in the game. Why'd you gotta do that to me? But I still, I can go home right now and just play it and enjoy it. Like, without a doubt. Obviously, the graphics are not going to be the same. So I'm really looking forward to getting a Switch and playing Odyssey, because I feel like that will be a continuation of that adventure. I just loved it. It was beautiful.
Odyssey is definitely my favorite Mario game of all time. Like I've never played Galaxy, but I feel like that would be the next sort of step up from 64, and then Odyssey eventually.
Oh, I never hit Galaxy either.
I never played. I wish I did because it looks like such a fun game.
What was it on?
Wii.
Yeah, Wii.
I have a Wii, but my Wii is more because I want to be able to play my GameCube games and Smash 3.
True. Yeah.
But now there's a Smash too. Damn.
There you go. Yeah, that's a great one.
That's my number 2.
My number 2 is a game, obviously, that's very near and dear to my heart. It's Pokemon.
Like, it didn't make my list, but like I felt it.
Pokemon is one of my favorite game series of all time. Obviously.
Yeah, I got you. No, we know.
It's so good, man. Like, I think that my feelings towards it are driven by mostly nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
I got it at a game, pretty much every game on this list is something I got on from like an early age, with the exception of Persona 5. But I got this when I was in elementary school. I got it on my, Game Boy Advance SP, the little square one.
Mm-hmm.
I had like a blue Game Boy, and I always played Pokemon Sapphire. That was my favorite game. And that's why like Gen 3 Pokemon are like the Hoenn region. That's my favorite region. It's got like the best pokes ever. Like a lot of people advocate for like Gen 1, maybe Gen 2. For me, it's always been Gen 3. That's just the first one I played. That's what I started with. That's the one that's like the most special to me. And I don't know, I just feel like the way your character looks is really cool. The way that you go about the map is really nice. It's just I don't know, it was a very unique experience for me. Like just going through and catching all the Pokemon, training them up, just like pouring, I don't know, like a lot of love into the Pokemon that you have, this like journey with. And you're going through, you get the 8 gym badges, you take on the Elite Four, and you become the champion of the region. And that's a really rewarding, and I don't know, it's like a very what's the word for that? Like time, I don't know.
Consuming? I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. It's like, I don't know, man. You can pour so many hours into it and still not be kind of satiated, because you can just keep going. There's more stuff to do. There's more Pokemon to catch if you want to complete the Pokédex.
And that's actually one of my challenges playing another Pokemon game, like, or a different one, is I don't get the same nostalgic value because maybe it's a different region. I don't have the same feelings, but I get more of that gamer feel, which is, okay, I just need to get the best Pokemon, just level them up and win the game, destroy everything, right? That's kind of the balance. So if for the older games, I have that nostalgia, I can play it and enjoy it. So that's good for you. That's more power to you.
Leilani, one of our friends, really takes that to the extreme too.
Oh yeah.
Like she grinds so hard. Like
she breeds for certain, what do they call
it's
it?
like
IVs,
IVs and EVs. I've never been that extreme into it. I didn't even know what that was until I was in college. Like when she was explaining it to me.
Yeah.
Like literally, I had no idea what it was. But she's super into it, and that's a kind of a cool thing. Like I never had that many people I could battle with. Like here and there, like along the years, you can like link your Game Boy to another person's and do the battles and stuff like that. But when I got to college and other people played Pokemon, that was an amazing thing for me, because I didn't really have that in high school or middle school, elementary school. All of a sudden, all my friends are nerds like me, and we can have like Pokemon battles and shit. That is, I don't know, like it's just the game that keeps on giving. It allows you to be strategic all the time. You can have new approaches. It's kind of like my equivalent to League of Legends almost.
Okay, I can feel
for
that.
the replayability value. It's just a really unique thing.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like definitely Pokemon is definitely going to be like kind of like honorable mention, because it's like I also grew up with Pokemon. I started out with Pokemon Silver, and I remember my first experience playing that game is I had my boy Totodile, and we were going through the beginning. I'm just training him to like level 11 or something before the first gen, and I fought Suicune. I found him right in the beginning.
You found him?
Yeah, I found him right in the beginning, and he was level like 50 something, and my Totodile was level 11. I almost caught him too. I started out with the 5 Pokeballs you get in that game, and I almost caught him. I got him into the yellow bar, so all I was doing was hoping and praying that that I would catch him. But in the end, I didn't catch him. But it was one of those moments.
Your first Pokemon game playthrough was blessed with a Suicune visit.
Yes, I was extremely happy, and it was incredible just seeing that. Like Pokemon definitely does have an everlasting effect on kids and everybody who grew up with it as well.
Yeah, I didn't grow up playing it, but I watched the show. I loved the show. Like I remember thinking the greatest betrayal was when what's her face, Misty left, and the other girl came, and I thought, yo, Pokemon's not the same. Many years later, I come to learn that's just a gen. That's just one generation, and then a new generation. I'm like, that's just how it goes. I'm like, damn, I thought Pokemon ended, you know. So I mean, that was just my own ignorance, but I loved it. I still loved it. I love Team Rocket.
Yeah, Team Rocket's, I don't know. I actually just watched the first Pokemon movie, God, like probably 2 weeks ago. My mom was giving me shit for it. She's like, what the she's like, why the fuck are you watching this? It's like, I don't know. It's good. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like,
I don't come to your room with shit on you for the movies you watch.
Yeah, like there's some good jokes in there. It's kind of a basic story and everything, but in some ways it's not either. Like it's a pretty, that shit'll put you in your feels. That's a very, I don't know, man. There's a lot of emotional stuff that goes into Pokemon.
I mean, people who aren't fans and people in the future who look back on the Pokemon franchise and like kind of question objectively might see that it's not as great as, you know, we feel, right? Just because, like, I was like, you know, think about it. You're just literally enslaving animals and making them fight, right? Isn't that what's happening?
The problem with Pokemon now, like in all seriousness, is that it's not as difficult anymore. You can do, there's this thing called like EXP share. It used to be in the old games, you put it on one Pokemon, and that one Pokemon would share the experience points that you get from battles. And you only get the experience points if you like KO the other Pokemon, right? If you win the battle.
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
I always thought it was like as long as they participated, then you switch them out, they get XP.
So okay, yeah, that's one way to do it. But the EXP share is something that allows you to do it very passively. Like the Pokemon that you have the share on doesn't need to be in battle, but it'll still get the points. The other approach is like what you mentioned. You start with one Pokemon. Maybe immediately switch them out and then beat them with your stronger one.
That's how I got my Magikarp to a Gyarados.
Yeah, that's a long grind.
I know.
But these days, with the newer Pokemon games that are out, the EXP share, you just turn it on or off. And one Pokemon can battle. The entire team, regardless of if they fought or not, gets experience.
That's kind of broken. Then you can just use your best one and just destroy it.
So it's I think it's a scaling thing, but it doesn't reward the player like it used to. Like, you used to feel a real sense of accomplishment.
But the newer players who are playing this might just see this as a convenience, and instead of neutrality versus something good, they think, yo, instead of something bad, we're back to neutral. It's like, instead of, man, I had to switch out every single time, what a waste of time, right? But to me, I never saw that as a waste of time. Like, I did play recently, and I played Emerald a little bit, but the only one I actually beat was Yellow, and I loved it, and I loved the fact that I had to switch out. Which game was it where you fight the red Gyarados and you have a chance to catch it?
That's
I played that one too. But
was that Diamond and Pearl?
No, it's way before that. It's not the later ones. It's within the first
Gen
three.
2.
So it's within the first three gens, I think, somewhere.
Oh, that's Crystal and all that.
Yeah.
Gold and Silver.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was it. So I fought the red one, and by that time I had my Gyarados, and I didn't realize. I thought, like, I put so much effort into making my Magikarp Gyarados, I didn't realize I could just get one later. But oh well. But I definitely see what you mean. Getting that reward, it's something people just might not appreciate anymore.
When I beat a Pokemon game now, it feels trivial because it feels like I haven't worked for it. Back when I was playing like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Sapphire, whatever, Emerald. Obviously, I'm kind of biased towards like Gen 3, Gen 1 remakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, when you're going through it and you have to do each one individually and you're just spending all this time leveling up the Pokemon, and then you finally beat the fucking guy that you've been trying to beat for like days now.
When you forget that you forgot to incorporate flying or ghost, and then you fight that first fighting gym, and you get wrecked, you're like, oh crap, I need to really rethink this.
When you're going through the Elite Four and you're just like, you're on your last Hyper Potion, you've still got like 2 or 3 guys to go through. I don't know, man. When you finally beat it, because you've been training all these unique Pokemon on their own, that's just a really good feeling, and it's just not anywhere near as satisfying now when you beat one.
It's also it's a happy medium, right? Because the other extreme that we haven't talked about is overkill, which is
Mm-hmm.
you just keep grinding to the point where every Pokemon's max level, and you buy you buy maximum amount of max potions, and then you just literally cheese your way through, and that takes the fun out of it because you grind too much. But definitely the necessary grind, getting your Pokemon to actually be useful and helpful and like to the point where they need to be. I don't know. I love that.
Yeah, it's
I'll agree
great.
with that.
It's especially like if you choose the fire starter, usually the first team you go against is rock, and rock beats fire pretty
Mhm.
much. It's not weak to it.
I'm biased personally towards water, but that's just personal.
For me, I like the grass types.
And water.
Your favorite?
Wow,
color?
we've all got the. Or no, you said water.
I said
right?
water as
I
well.
like water.
Oh, so
Wait,
I'm
it's
missing
water,
fire,
fire, and-
actually. It's
so-
grass, yeah.
Grass.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But fire is basic, and
Well, they got some good shit. I mean, like Blaziken was cool.
Mm.
He's the Gen 3 starter for fire.
Mhm.
Dude, the Gen 3 starters are all so good. Like Mudkip, Torchic, and Trico.
okay, well, see, Mudkip gets that double? It's water and ground when it evolves.
Yeah, it's double typing.
So
yeah.
like,
But so
you
is Blaziken. It's fire and fighting.
yeah, but that doesn't. Okay, see, I'm not a Pokemon master, so don't hate on me for this, but water is weak to like electricity, lightning,
Mhm.
right? And so that's why the ground helps.
Right, yeah.
Fire and fighting, I think, is just two different things that don't really complement each other that well. I'm guessing.
It makes for a pretty badass looking Pokemon, though.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it looks amazing. I watched a show when it fought Charizard. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that was amazing.
I think they actually improved upon it.
Did-
I don't remember what gen it was, but whatever one that had Infernape, dude,
I think that's the one that came afterwards.
that's Gen 4, right?
Yeah.
Is that for you?
That's Gen 4, dude.
Oh, I play Pokemon Go. So
Oh, yeah.
that doesn't really fit into any of the other Pokemon categories. It's kind of completely separate, but
Pokemon Go is a pretty good time if you have friends to play it with.
yeah, it's good. It's good passive time. It's not. I did try investing myself in it, like playing it for real, but it doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
It's more of a play it when you have time to, don't if you don't.
Mhm.
It's something to do if you're, just walking around, happen to
Mhm.
think of it.
Yep. I cared at first, gym battles, raids. Tried being serious about it, but that was just too much work. All right, that's your number
That's
two.
my number 2. All right,
That's-
science, the big
this is
moment
it.
I've been
This
waiting
is-
for, man.
This is it. This is my number one game of basically of influential game of like all time, and it's one of Chris's as well. One of his top 5. It's Persona. I love
The Persona series.
the Persona series in general.
Wasn't
Yeah.
wasn't that his?
That was my 5th one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's only
and-
because I got into it late in life.
Yeah.
Alright, fair.
And oh my god, I like every single point about Persona 5 continues on with all the other games as well. I did not start out with Persona 1. I started out with Persona 3. And like I said, it just all these facts about Persona 5 just go back to all the other Personas as well, like building that friendship, building those social links, going along this adventure and with your ragtag group of friends and just solving Persona 4 is solving mysteries. Persona 3, you're basically trying to save the world from destruction. And
That seems kind of like a downgrade.
yeah, because I started with we start Persona 3. You're like, oh my god, you basically shoot yourself in the head to summon your basically your persona, and then Persona 4 you start by shooting it and crushing your card or something like that. And Persona 5 you have Mask, and it's like I don't know, just like I have so many memories of just going around that game and just fucking around. Persona 3, I drank gallons and gallons of coffee just to increase my charm so I can get the girl I like. And and then just like
Is that how it works?
yeah,
Oh,
basically.
yeah. You
Like,
gotta
like,
increase
I-
some social
No,
stats.
IRL. That's how it works. Is this how we get girls?
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
yeah. You just got to pound coffee.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, and then
That's strat.
like doing like basically like the harem routes where you basically get all the girls. That was the first time I ever experienced that in the game, is where you basically get to date multiple.
Power.
This like it's like dating multiple girls, and I was so surprised when I was young. I was like, oh my god, I could date this girl. I can date all the girls I want, and it wouldn't really matter because I wouldn't get any repercussions in this game.
Is that true? There's not anything
In the game, when you do date multiple girls, your boys got your back.
Oh, shoot.
So basically, what happens is that when you go on a school trip, the boys distract the other girls from talking to you, so you get a scot free. Persona 4, nothing happens to you. You not like you get all these girlfriends, nothing really happens to you. But then in the kind of remake of the game in Persona 4 Golden, you get the most like heart wrenching, like just like oh my god, it make you cry kind of scene if you get multiple girlfriends. It kind of makes you feel bad for getting multiple girlfriends.
Well, for good reason.
Yeah, it's like basically you go around with all the girls and you talk to them and they're giving you chocolates for Valentine's and they're like, oh, are you gonna go see somebody else? And you basically try to explain yourself like it's not you. It's like I'm just this is a friend or something like that. And you're like they all start like crying and you just feel so bad. And then in Persona 5, when you get multiple girlfriends, they beat you up. They beat you up on Valentine's Day. They beat you up. Yeah, they beat you up on Valentine's Day. And it's like those events and those experiences just made me love the Persona series. And I'm just waiting for the next one to pop out, and I'm just gonna buy that game immediately.
I need to know what Persona 5 R is gonna be.
Oh, I'm just
What's R?
We don't know yet.
yeah.
Oh, is that like
It's like a code name. It's like when the Switch was called the NX or something. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. R stands for something, I'm sure. But dude, I fell in love instantly with the Persona series too, and I wish that I discovered it earlier. And I really want to buy a PlayStation Vita just so I can play Persona 4 Golden. I don't have anything that could run Persona 3 yet, but just the level of depth.
Wait, hold up. Persona 3 can't you like get that on your phone? Do
Yeah.
like an emulator? Yeah. Sonny was
PSP.
showing me that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Sonny,
I have
he
it.
showed me.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have space on it, but yeah, you can play Persona 3 on your phone.
Get the fuck out of here. Why am I just not here? What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right, well, Sonny's going to hook me up after this podcast is over. Because I've been looking to play some Persona 3. I'm going to get Persona 4 after that for sure. But that's a hell of a pick for you. Like, that's such an amazing series. Like, if you guys haven't played that game, Persona 5 in particular, you're cheating yourself basically. Like you've got to do it. Ihraz.
Yeah, he's talking to me.
That's not number one. What about you, Ihraz?
All right,
the big kahuna.
We saw
right.
this one coming, Sonny.
All right, yeah. So they called me out on this before. Like I didn't show them the list, but they called me out. It's Skyrim, Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. I love this game. It's open world to the extreme, right? That's kind of my main point here. It's not just open world like Mario was, where you go into a painting and it's like its own little world and you can do whatever you want in there with some goal. Skyrim, I don't have to adhere to any rule. I could kill every guard that comes my way. Like, I could be wanted and they'd send armies out, like, whatever. Or I could do everything I can to help people. I've played this game, I can't tell you how many hours I have on it because I've torrented it so many times. Played it for like 30, 40 hours. Cheated sometimes, didn't cheat other times, quit the game. A couple months later, went back to it, played it all over again. This time, instead of going archer, I would go like okay, by the way, I always go back to sneak and archer. Sneak and archery, that's my thing. And backstab, you know.
And that's not just for Skyrim, that's like every game Ihraz
Oh yeah,
plays
yeah,
ever.
that's kind of my thing. I'm the thief assassin character. That's me. But yeah, I just love going wherever I want to for whatever reason I want to. You can shoot down dragons. It's so great, right? It's so amazing. Like, so skill wise, obviously there's a lot for it to improve. I never played the other ones, the other games before. I've heard good and bad things about them. A teaser just came out a few weeks ago that the new one's coming out, the number 6. But this game is like super open world. You can talk to people and things change on what you do. You can turn into vampire or werewolf or none. There are choices you can make in the game that are irreversible or cut out other paths. Like for the Thieves Guild, there's a place called Thieves Guild. You can do their quest line and become one of them. And if you don't finish it, you get some interesting artifact called the Skeleton Key. It's a lockpick. By the way, I steal everything wherever I go. And I don't get caught. That's the important part. I have the Skeleton Key, and I can like break in anywhere I want. The Skeleton Key is a lockpick that doesn't break. Thing is, to finish the story, you have to return that Skeleton Key to where it belongs. And I don't want to do that. All right, so there's that. So I've torrented that game so many times. I've played it, and the reason I've torrented it instead of buying it was so I can mod it. Right, I put so many mods on it and stuff. And then Skyrim, Bethesda, they come out with a moddable version, so I bought it on Steam. And even after that, I don't know how many hours I have on it, but I'm just playing it now again. I have all the DLCs. I don't know. This is a great game. So I said I was going to mention Zelda later, and I'll mention it now. I didn't put Breath of the Wild here because I didn't play it. But from what I hear of it, it's like as open world as Skyrim, where there are quests, there's a reason for doing things. There are things you need to do or that you should do. There are experiences that won't be the same if you just go free, but the option is still there to just run around, kill things or not kill things, to just be free and do stuff. I saw a picture of a person riding, I think it was a bear on fire, and then the fire was actually interacting with the grass and stuff around it and causing that stuff to burn. And I'm like, wow, how immersive! Like,
that's why I would argue that it's like Skyrim on steroids.
Yeah, so I want that game so bad, but the only reason I put Skyrim instead of that, the only reason I didn't put Breath of the Wild is because I don't have it, I haven't tried it. I don't have a Switch. So once I get that Switch, it's Mario Odyssey to beat 64, and then Breath of the Wild to beat Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my number one. And it's not just because the game itself. It's more of what the game gives me, the freeness of it. I don't know, the open world. I love that aspect. Like I was playing Final Fantasy X, right? I'm telling you that. And it's not open world. There's a very linear, specific path. The map shows you where you can and cannot walk. And I hate it. In Skyrim, if there's a mountain and you have a horse, you can go up that. Your horses are on steroids. You can go almost 90 degrees up. Like, it's ridiculous. I love it. Yes, there's a path up that mountain, but I'm not going to go around the mountain to find it. Some of those mountains are huge. I'm not going to waste 10 minutes.
Yeah, you just got to go straight up on your horse, man.
Yeah, or I'm just keep jumping and find some, like, glitch my way up. I don't know. I'll do something. But yeah, that's my number one. You
would really love Breath of the Wild. I think that it would replace Skyrim as your top pick, actually.
Yeah.
I really genuinely believe that.
No, and I believe too. I've seen some gameplay. I've seen some stuff. This is a guy, Doug. Makes YouTube videos about games and stuff. And he did this thing where can you kill it's some boss in Zelda, I forgot, with chickens. And so it was
a Lionel.
Lionel, yeah. And I've watched that video.
Lionel, yeah.
And okay, so it's so hilarious. But all jokes aside, like I see him crossing mountains. Like, well, you can't do this with a chicken on your head. You can't swim and you can't do certain things. So you have to trek cross country. And I'm like, bro, that's so Skyrim-y right there. I need to try this game. So yeah, that's me.
It's good shit. Riza has put in like so many hours into that game too. Not Skyrim, but Breath of the Wild. Like she's done, like there's 120 shrines, I believe. I think that number's right. And you just go, like it doesn't tell you where they all are either. Like you would love this game because you have to go and find every single shrine on this gigantic, like this huge plane of a map, right? It's just incredible. I mean, it really is. Like the amount of exploration you can do, I think it just would really resonate with you. Just, talking about all the love you have for the open world concept.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I've seen some gameplay, and this is definitely going to be like something I'm going to play. But enough of that. But what's your number one?
All right, guys. My number one, my favorite game. It's actually two. It's kind of tied up here. But my favorite game series of all time, Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2.
Okay.
I keep trying to get these guys to play this game. And I think
I remember this.
It's more of a technical issue type deal.
It's not because we don't want to.
It's just a technical thing. I don't know what it is. It's notoriously buggy, especially the second one. But allow me to tell you about Coder 1 and 2. So the first game, I guess it was more of my first serious RPG, whereas Fable is kind of it's kind of a joke, kind of parody of a RPG, sort of. It kind of has that vibe. It's short. It's kind of, it's, retrospectively, it's kind of garbage. It's fun, but it's like kind of garbage fun, right? Mm-hmm. Coder is so addicting. Like, that's the only word I can think of for it. You play as someone in the Star Wars universe, which is totally unrelated to the movies, by the way. It's not canon or anything. Mm-hmm. It's in the universe, so they've got like lightsabers and they have like starships and they have the planets
and stuff
effects. Like that. Yeah. But none of the characters in there are part of the movies or anything like that.
Got it.
Totally independent. So your character, oh gosh, I don't know how to talk about this game without giving away the spoilers and stuff. So I'll just put out a spoiler. Is it cool if
I'm cool with that.
All right. This is a spoiler alert for anyone that doesn't want to know the ending for just the first one. I'm not going to talk about the second one, but the first one. This is the warning. So you start out playing as someone who's on a starship. You wake up and you have no idea where you are, who you are. It's kind of a mystery to you. And the game uses that to kind of explain what the background is.
Mm-hmm.
You're being attacked by like Sith fighters and stuff. You need to get off the ship, get to the escape pods. So you make your way through the first ship, which is like the first level, right? You make it to the escape pods, and then you crash land on the planet below called Terrace. From there, you meet this Jedi named Bastila. You form a party, and you start meeting these new characters. And the game is all about just going through to the different worlds, collecting these things called Starforges. There's a evil, like, dark Jedi, someone that was previously a Jedi, but fell to the Sith, the dark side. And basically your goal is to find the maps that lead you to this thing called the Starforge, which is like the equivalent to the Death Star, basically, but for, back then. I think it takes place, like, before the new Star Wars universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing all this stuff, but along the way you're, like, getting into these deeper kind of it's kind of like Persona in the sense that you build these character relationships with each other and you learn about the other characters and things like that, but really what drives it is kind of the sense of exploration. And that's I feel like Ihraz would like this game a lot just because you do get to explore so much, and Sonny would like it for the character development. It's just an amazing game. And then at the end of it, this is like the spoilery part, you find out that the guy, Revan, the Dark Jedi that you're in pursuit of, it's actually you. You are Darth Revan.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's like...
Wait, but you didn't know, so...
You never know
forgot,
that.
and then, dang, that's...
See, when you go back and play it through a couple more times, the hints are there. It becomes kind of like, something's hinting at that's going to be kind of what's coming. There's subtle hints here and there, and all this time, the enemy that you were pursuing was actually yourself. And when you have that information, when it's revealed to you, you can either decide to go light side, which is the path you've kind of been on. Oh, it's
during the gameplay.
During the gameplay, yeah. You can choose to go like light side or dark side. The dialogue choices has an impact on that and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It has an effect on you in some capacity. But you can also become like the greatest Sith Lord ever, basically. And so
I'm just gonna guess Sonny would become the Sith Lord.
I would imagine, yeah.
I would play both sides.
Yeah, you got to get a feel for both. Both sides has their advantages and stuff. I always go light side because I feel guilty. So I don't know. It's a very basic story in the first game of like light versus dark. The choices are very obvious. Mm-hmm. What's light, what's dark. The second game is a lot more special because it's a lot more nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
There's a character in there named Kreia, and she's a gray Jedi. She's someone that's neither light side nor dark side. She's someone who presents a very interesting like philosophical viewpoint on the Force, and her whole thing is that she wants to use you, the character, as a way to get rid of the Force entirely, because she thinks that if you have the Force, you have no free will, because the Force is what compels you to do certain things, and there's a natural balance and a natural order.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she believes that
without the Force, it wouldn't be a light or dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Instead of that, people just make choices on their own, and then the balance isn't struck anymore. And the reason she uses you is because in the second game, your character is someone who was exiled from the Jedi. They had their Force powers kind of taken away from them. They forgot how to feel the Force, and that's something that's supposed to be impossible for like Force-sensitive people to do. And then throughout the game, Kreia slowly kind of develops the Force within the character again. And all along the way, she's sort of instilling her philosophical viewpoints on morality and things like that into the character, trying to get you to shift your ideas and things like that. So where the first game is a lot more of a kind of classic RPG where you know exactly what's going on, but it's a lot of fun because it's in the Star Wars universe if you like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The second one is it's something that compels you to think about things, and it's something that sort of, I don't know, you have to confront your own views and think of what makes you think is, what's right and wrong. And that's kind of why I like it, because you get into some deeper level of thought there.
Just from hearing that, I want to play it because, like, none of my games have what you just described, but I know exactly what you're talking about because, and I've told these guys many times, I have a favorite book series. But that's big. I've read through a series that went to that, where you think you know what's right and wrong, and then morality is so volatile, right? Like there are people who have compasses, right? Like religious or moral or this or that, but in this story, there's like you really question. So I can totally see that.
It's
And
just
if that's the game that gave you kind of an eye opener, it's like holy shit, this is kind of how I need to think. That's big.
it's big. It makes you think about just the philosophy and like the morality and things like that, like what the moral gray areas are. It's real life is a lot more in line with that game than it is with the first game.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not so obvious, doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing. There's a lot of gray area a lot of the time. And when you're forced to confront that gray area, especially in the context of some of the decisions that are made in that game, it's just a very unique experience. I think you would like it a lot because
I think I would love that
a
part
lot
of
of
it.
our conversations.
I bought the game, but damn, it was I couldn't even start it. I couldn't even start the adventure.
It wouldn't run.
Yeah, it wouldn't run.
Yeah.
So I told Chris about this when I told him I bought the game. I was extremely upset because Chris was just hyping this up, and I wanted to play it.
It's literally my favorite game series of all time. Like Coder 1 is like, I think it's my favorite one just because it was the first one I played. It just had a huge impact on me. It was so good. I play it like almost annually. Like I play this game all the time.
Oh, nice.
The second one is equally good, if not better, really. I mean, from an objective standpoint, it's probably better. But yeah, man, like if you guys can get past the technical issues, I 100% like recommend you guys play these games.
All right. Well, you guys have any honorable mentions you guys want to mention real quick?
Yeah, so we were thinking, when we're trying to bring up this list, right? We played so much. I don't know how I managed to narrow it down to 5. And as we were talking about it, you mentioned Dark Souls. I'm like, dang, I wish I'd put that in. So there are a couple honorable mentions that I think we all have to some degree. Not in any particular order, but I had like these 4. And then Sonny mentioned just Flash games in general, and I'm like, wait a minute, these might all fall under it. So there's like castle defense games. That's big in my life, right? I don't play them anymore, but you know how there's like kind of like a maze-like system to an end, and you have to place structures along the path. That path is used by enemies to get to you, right? And I used to love those games, right? And like Don't Touch My Gems. That's a series. A series of games called Don't Touch My Gems, where you have gems and the enemies come and try to take them, you gotta shoot them down. So I like the castle defense ones, the medieval ones, right? Magic, archers, those type of stuff. Not really, whatchamacallit, the more modern ones. But there's one in particular, like, I forgot what it's called. I don't know if it's called Nemesis or what it was, but basically you're the guy trying to steal the gems now. You're the guy trying to get through, and the tower defenses are makes to stop you. So that's one. There's also archer defense games, which is same thing, but instead of towers, you're an archer alone or with a group, and you have to shoot them down. And the stick page games.
Oh.
Stickpage.com. I don't know. They got like cool skits. You guys need to try it out. Go to stickpage.com. It's some crazy good stuff. It's just stick figures fighting, or stick figure games, or stick figure movie skits. But yeah, that's kind of my thing, where a lot of the Flash games that we mentioned earlier is a big part, but I couldn't really put it on my list, so that's my honorable mention.
All right, I've also got 4. First 2 were on your guys' lists, actually really high up. The first one is Skyrim. That's definitely a really great game. Got into it like right when it first came out. That was like a big thing for me and my friends back in high school. So that's definitely got a special place in my heart. The other one was Zelda Wind Waker. Definitely my favorite Zelda game of all time. Breath of the Wild is really good, but it just doesn't, to me at least, Wind Waker is better. I think it's just the nostalgia factor of playing it again for sure. But the other 2 are unique. They're both Game Boy Advance games, or like the way I played them was on the Game Boy Advance when it was like re-released. It's Super Mario World and Kirby Nightmare and Dreamland. Those 2 games I put so many hours into. They're so much fun. Just platformer games. Just like the side-scrolling platformers, man. Like you can't get better than Mario, of course, and then Kirby's a really fun game too. So those are my honorable mentions.
I don't have any honorable mentions. I played so many games. I love so many games, but Some of them I just can't put them up there as high as the other 5 I have played. And just a quick recap of all our top 5s again. 5 for me was Dark Souls, 4 Mabinogi, 3 Final Fantasy, 2 Zelda, 1 Persona. That was mine. Top 5.
For me, starting from the bottom, going top, it was Epic Battle Fantasy 3, an RPG game. Then it was RuneScape. Then it was League of Legends, which I still play. Super Mario 64, maybe might morph into Mario Odyssey. And then top of the list, Skyrim, which also I still play.
And then for me, Persona 5, Fable, Star Wars Battlefront 1, Pokemon, in particular, Sapphire. It's the best one. And Star Wars Knights of the Republic 1 and 2. And wow, I just noticed that we've been talking about this for almost 2 hours. That was a hell of a ride, guys.
2 hours, wow.
That's crazy.
Like, I could not feel the passage of time.
It literally went by so fast. Like, that was amazing.
I mean, I think you mentioned something like this, but we are masters of our own experiences, right?
Yeah.
You know,
We're our own subject matter experts.
Yeah. So yeah, this was great. I love this, and we all came out with something instead of just giving our stories. You now know you can get Persona 3 on your phone.
Yeah, you know what I'm doing after this.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. I'm definitely gonna look into getting some of these nostalgia games. I'm gonna finish Wind Waker for a start. Finish Final Fantasy, which I'm still in the middle of.
Go pick up a Switch.
Oh yeah, that's no before that. Yeah, I need that. Also, yeah, Breath of the Wild and Odyssey. That's kind of my goal next. I guess.
I still need to get Star Wars: The Old Republic to work.
Oh man, yeah. I forgot to mention, I'm actually not even a really big Star Wars fan, to be honest with you. It just so happens that there's an amazing Star Wars RPG out there, and it takes place in the Star Wars universe. It's just so fucking good. Like, I wish they would make the movies about these games, man. They have the best, like, source material ever, but that'll never happen.
Well, that's kind of with me and Zelda. Like, well, yeah, I don't play Zelda that much, but I'm enjoying Wind Waker, and I think I'd enjoy Breath of the Wild.
For sure.
All right, that's our lists and some action items for later, too, what we might do in the future. I'm Ihraz.
I'm Sunny.
I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next time.